Hello. Today I want to talk briefly about which universities get the highest rankings in the three most widely cited international university ranking systems. As I note in my video on the history of university rankings, although there are now well over a dozen international ranking systems in use, the three most widely cited are the academic ranking of all universities, often referred to as the Shanghai ranking, the QS ranking produced by the educational advisory company Quacquarelli Symonds, and the THE ranking developed by the Times Higher Education in cooperation with the information company Thomson Reuters. Each of these three ranking agencies produces an annual list of universities in rank order according to various metrics of quality. These international comparisons have become enormously popular and influential over the past decade, and ranking scores and success have become a significant factor in determining the relative prestige of individual colleges and universities. However, given that there are no commonly agreed criteria by which to describe, let alone measure, the quality of individual universities, there are considerable divergences between the rankings produced. Each ranking system is constructed to highlight different aspects of what its makers consider to be a university's excellence, particularly in terms of the quality of education, the quality of faculty, and research output and citations. Each system then defines, weights, and quantifies these variables in different ways. The qualities of excellence that they seek to quantify are doubtless all of value and interest, but the very fact of their divergence leads to some markedly different results, a consequence which underlines the fact that at a fundamental level these ranking systems are arbitrary portrayals of the complex institutions that they try to evaluate. The London School of Economics, for example, was ranked in 2013 as 32nd in the THE system, but 68th in the QS system, and was relegated to the 101-150 wasteland band by the Shanghai system, whilst the National University of Singapore ranked 24th in QS, 26th in the THE, and again was in the 101-150 band for Shanghai. These divergences should not surprise us. Different measures will produce different results, and there is no one true ranking to rule them all. Users of ranking systems may rightly shop around between them to see which system best expresses their own ideals of excellence, or, pragmatically, gives them the most prestige. That said, it may be useful to compile composite scores for the highest ranking universities, the creme de la creme, as it were. We might expect that, for all their differences, the rival ranking systems would be more likely to share a common perception of excellence for what they saw as the very best than for lower ranking institutions. To some extent, that indeed is what we find. If we take the top 20 universities from each of the three ranking lists for 2013 and put them on a common list, we get a total of 28 institutions. I have removed 2 of the 28 from my study, specialist institutions which were highly ranked by at least one of the ranking systems, but did not get into the top 100 of all 3 of them. The 2 exceptions are the University of California at San Francisco, a leading American center of health science research and education, and the École Polytechnique Fédérale de Lausanne, a Swiss center for excellence in science and engineering. This leaves us with 26 institutions which score well in all 3 lists and make the top 20 in at least 1. With the exception of the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology in Zurich, all of my top 26 are in the Anglophone world, 18 in the United States, 6 in Britain, and 1, Toronto, in Canada. I will give a link below the video if you want to see the full list of 26 institutions. Of the American universities, 8 are on the upper eastern seaboard. That's Harvard, MIT, Princeton, Yale, Columbia, Pennsylvania, Cornell, and Johns Hopkins. 5 in California, that's Stanford, Caltech, UC Berkeley, and UC San Diego. 3 in the Midwest, Chicago, Wisconsin-Madison, and Michigan, and one each in North Carolina, that's Duke, and the Northwest, Washington, indicating strong geographic concentrations. The British universities comprise Cambridge, Oxford, 3 of the London colleges, that's Imperial, University College and King's, and Edinburgh. How much overlap is there between the 3 ranking systems? Of the 26 universities in my composite ranking, 14 are in the top 20 list for all 3 systems, that's 54%, whilst another 4 are in at least the top 30 of all 3 lists. There is more divergence in the remaining 8, however, their high ranks in some systems being offset by much lower ranks in others, the lowest being the University of California at San Diego, which only ranked 63rd in the QS system, and University College London, which was ranked 67th by the Shanghai system. Overall, the degree of agreement between the 3 ranking systems might be described as low to moderate. 10 out of my top 26 have divergences between the highest and lowest ranks of up to only 5 places. Another 5 divergences of between 6 and 10 places, 5 more with divergences between 11 and 20 places, and the remaining 6 between 21 and 50 places, the highest being differences of 48 and 49 places. Indeed, if we calculate Spearman's rank coefficient for the 3 sets of ranks within my top 26, this reveals a fairly strong positive correlation only between the Shanghai and THE ranks. By contrast, the correlation between the Shanghai and QS systems is weak, and that between the QS and THE ranks intermediate to the other 2. How are we to assess these findings? First, given that these are amongst some of the very best universities in the world, this fairly low level of agreement between the 3 separate ranking systems reinforces the idea that they are arbitrary constructs. Lower down the lists, the divergences are often even more extreme. Also of note is the strong Anglophone concentration of these top-rated institutions, 25 out of 26. Critics have rightly queried whether this Anglophone predominance is a genuine reflection of excellence or merely an expression of the particular variables chosen to measure quality in the ranking systems, including the predominance of English language journals. Other criticisms of the ranking systems include doubt over the validity of the data, given the marked changes in the rank of some institutions from year to year, the unlikelihood that a single ranking score can be really developed for such complex and varied institutions as universities, and the view that ranking encourages narrowly focused production targets rather than less measurable aspects of university excellence. International ranking systems have been an increasingly important part of the academic world for a decade now. Is it too soon to evaluate them? Are they an effective way of assessing the quality of higher education, or would alternative systems be better? For example, would it be more useful to strictly restrict ranking to specific subject areas for which comparisons would be more meaningful than at the level of universities as total institutions? Thus we could compare physics departments with physics departments, development studies programs with development studies programs, and so on. Or again, would it be more productive to identify broad quality bands, excellent, good, needs improvement, or whatever, and simply grade universities accordingly, thus avoiding annual panics about comparative prestige? All of the universities mentioned in this video are amongst the best in the world. Does it really have any meaning to ask whether Harvard is better than Stanford, or Cambridge better than Oxford? They're all excellent, and the important differences between them are at the micro level of specific areas of expertise, Egyptology or particle physics, let's say. Again, is it really likely that any of them have experienced dramatic changes in overall worth on a year-to-year basis? Are we really going to believe that Stanford was any less excellent in 2010, when it ranked only 13th in the QS system, than it is today when it ranks 7th? We should also ask whether ranking systems are the best way of stimulating excellence in higher education, or, by selecting certain variables as measurements of university excellence, are the ranking agencies setting the agenda for university development? Would it be better for individual universities to decide what their own concepts of excellence are, and disregard those set by the ranking agencies? Many universities have their own particular missions, whether it be excellence in a particular area of expertise, or as institutions that pride themselves more on their ability to educate and empower generations of young people than on such measures of excellence as the number of Nobel laureates produced or research citations. Is it useful to privilege one particular mission over others? Thank you for listening.